We have to talk to Director Barris. Get Director Barris on the phone.
Unable, the comms are down.
The storm wall off the island is throwing out a wicked EM field. Satellite uplink's offline.
How long does it take to fix?
We're working to boost the signal, sir, but we may need to get out of range of the interference.
Are you telling me that no one knows about the Titan? What are your orders?
Why aren't we moving?
What the hell is he doing here?
Ah, nice to see you too. What's your name again?
I'm Tim.
Hang on a second. Is that it?
Affirm. Almost at the edge of our range.
So why aren't we going after it? All right, who's in charge here? Him?
Yes.
No. Just hang on.
Let's go, Monarch. You're giving it too much line.
We have to wait for orders from Washington.
We don't have time for bureaucracy. If that makes landfall in a populated area, you're looking at another G-Day.
Hey, Kaiju fans and Podcastica listeners, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Dimitri.
And this episode, we are covering Monarch Season 2, found on Apple TV Plus, Episode 2, entitled Resonance. And yes, we are Kaiju Cast Podcast. We are covering Monarch Season 2, Legacy of Monsters, currently. And then eventually after, when we do finish up Monarch Season 2, Legacy of Monsters, we're going to do more after that. So for those of you who are Podcastica listeners, please stick with us and listen to us and, share your love of Godzilla films or Kaiju films. It won't just be centered around Godzilla. Obviously, we just love Godzilla here. But we're going to be covering a lot more stuff, and it won't just be Dimitri and myself. It'd be also my friend Frank and anybody else who wants to jump on. I'm hoping my friend Jerry will come on. But in this episode of the podcast, we are covering Monarch Season 2, Episode 2, Resonance. And with that, there is a synopsis. So, Dimitri, can you give us that synopsis?
Yep. Lee and Keiko investigate a secretive village with a cult devoted to a mysterious creature. Kate crosses paths with a deadly stowaway.
Bum, bum, bum. I love how they give this, Apple TV Plus, Disney Plus does this as well. They tend to give 2 to 3 sentence worth of a synopsis, which gives away and doesn't give away all at once. And if you've been following the show, obviously you know where it's going. It's like, oh, okay, they're continuing their path, something happens, and boom. And this little synopsis, you're like, oh. And then, at least it doesn't give away the whole story, because, with leaks and everything else that go online, who cares about that stuff? Let's just watch the show, and we did. Dimitri, what were your initial thoughts about this particular episode?
They're doing really, really well with building up Titan X, even if we do see her a bit. We see her face, we see her swimming, yet we still don't know much about her. And what her place is in the natural order, or if she even has a place. And I think the full reveal of what she is and her design, her powers and whatnot will pay off really well because of this build-up.
Okay. Do you think this will actually work for the MonsterVerse itself, for Legendary? And do you think it's just a monster of the week or of the season? And I'm getting that feeling that this is a monster of the season, or it might show up just a little bit later on. Because my feeling with this character, it kind of gives me that feeling of the Borg. It's a collective, And a lot of you listeners, if you listen to our first episode, we talked and we regarded Biollante and a lot of references towards that. It's nowhere near a plant-based creature. This is an aquatic-based serpentine-style squid-like creature. But within this particular episode, we get a little bit more within the character. I really liked it for the fact that we get those direct visuals, as Dimitri had said. And I really did enjoy the double eyes. If you look, when we get a close-up, you get two eyes in one socket. And it's weird because it's like, oh, multiple eyes. It has multiple tentacles. It's got multiple this. It pretty much reminiscent of a kraken. Like if you think about it back in the day. And yeah, you could say, yeah, Clash of the Titans, Kraken, Ray Harryhausen back in the day, Clash of the Titans. We all had that from the 80s and we loved it. I loved it. I always wanted that toy. But but the thing is that you get that feeling of it. But with these little crustaceans or these scarabs that are hanging around it, within this episode, we learn a little bit more just by visual and from the history of what's going on between Lee and Keiko from their time in Chile at that time in 1957. And we get more backstory. So with that, we're going to get into a little bit more. I like to get into more of a casual conversation about the episode. There are key scenes within it that we all do appreciate, and that's like how I like to break down. Dimitri, do you have a key scene that you want to talk about right now? We could go forward, backwards, in the middle. Who knows?
I like to say one of the key scenes would have to be Titanax again, with the past segment of her when she's coming out of the water with, I'm guessing her bioluminescence being a docile white.
Okay.
Before turning into the aggressive, threatening display of pinkish purple.
Okay, so you're saying that the light colors that comes out of it, very similar to what we get out of Godzilla.
Yes.
Because Godzilla has gone from what? A white to blue to pink at this point. And eventually we're going to get green, probably. So you're seeing the bioluminescence that we usually get from certain Titans at times. They've done this in other films. They've done this in what was it? Godzilla King of the Monsters,
yes.
Even with Mothra and the representations of like even Mothra when they get docile and get and even with King Ghidorah and like a whole bunch of these monsters, they have different luminescence about them. Also, which kind of makes me always think of, and a lot of you listeners probably hate the movie, but to me, I really love the movie Pacific Rim. They have bioluminescence. So, you feel the same way, right, Dimitri?
But Pacific Rim was my first proper kaiju film I've seen in theaters. So it is very special to me.
Okay,
for that, because I watched it with, I think, my older brother. Maybe my dad,
cool.
but I definitely know my older brother.
Yeah, and it holds a lot of sentiment to you. And yeah, I get the feeling too, because to me, it was like that came out literally before Godzilla 2014. And what was it? Guillermo del Toro that did it? And honestly, it was like the first. I'm like, oh my God, we got a real freaking kaiju movie. Finally, after all these years, we didn't have just Gino. We just didn't have all these other B class or C class stuff that we get on direct to streaming or DVD. Now, mind you, I'm not saying I hate those films. I do enjoy them, but it was like the first cinematic one, and it did well. It did okay. And I have a full 14 to 15 inch Gypsy Danger sitting behind my couch, like a big toy that came out at that time. Yes, I do at my age, but I just love the actual mech in it. I loved the actual kaijus that were in that film. And I think that seemed to basically give the idea of how kaijus are representative and in this new century, as it were, because they give off a luminescence, as you stated. And I really do enjoy that. I really do like that, for the fact that we get that from Godzilla when he revs up, even when -0, -1, because we're gonna get -0, everybody. Godzilla -0. But we get all that out of these monsters, and I really do enjoy them. Yeah, and Titan X is one of those. It could be a one-off for the season. It could be something that we see later, but I really think that this is going to be something that we follow through this season. And now that we're at the second episode of the season of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, it's going to be at that point where it's like, oh, we're going to follow this creature, and we'll see Kong probably involved mostly. And then probably at the end, we're going to get the big G. We're going to get Godzilla at some point. So all you Godzilla fans, like the rest of us, like you, me, and, Dimitri,
Yeah.
we're going to be like, he finally showed. He's not sleeping, in the Coliseum curled up.
I'm probably one of the fans who's fine with the lack of Godzilla, because I grew up with the old Godzilla films. I expect other monsters to be in it
Spotlighted?
more. Yeah. Than Godzilla. So whenever I don't see Godzilla for like 3 episodes straight, as long as the kaiju that they showcase is well done and good, and as long as I enjoy the human aspect of it, I don't mind.
Yeah, and a lot of, honestly, for you listeners that are new to it and have only watched Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 1, and then or maybe 1 or 2 of the Godzilla films that were out there, a lot of it is people-based. A majority of the original kaiju films from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, 90s, all the way up into the early 2000s, all literally had people focused, and then the kaiju just comes in at the end, or in the beginning, and then maybe in a little bit in the middle, and then at the very end, if you're lucky. And then there's very, very much a difference in every film. As we've gotten in years, like Final Wars, you had more monsters in it than anything, and more battles and more appearances. Same thing with Destroy All Monsters in the 60s. Then obviously with Godzilla 1984/1985, depending with the American or Japanese, you get all these differences. So, they want you basically to love the characters that are following this story, which are human based. And then basically the whole purpose behind it is the kaiju itself, either a threat, a symbol of hope, or protection of man. And that's literally what it all boils down to. This is what gets us who are kaiju fans, the ones who just love watching it and collect and have all this stuff. We all have our loves of like a bad Godzilla, good Godzilla, the goofy Godzilla. We have them a whole bunch. It's Godzilla versus Gigan. Come on, it took place in an amusement park of all things, and you could go research that, everybody. But right now, we're just gonna concentrate on good old Monarch. All right. So with that, a key scene that I really did like is the intro scene. We get Lee and Keiko, and they recognize the Titan, and then they have seen it before, obviously in Chile. So we know this because it was bound to come up. We already saw the scarabs. I like to call them scarabs because that's what they say online.
Yeah.
I call them crustaceans, but that's just who I am. Then you got I love Lee's expression when Keiko goes, "Are you all right?" and everything, and he just looks over and he's in the chopper and they just retrieved him. And this is in the opening scene, and he goes, "Good old Monarch." And it ends that scene as they land on the Monarch ship, and that little scarab just scurries away. And you're like, okay, foreshadowing. We know what's going to happen here. And we get that within the episode. It's going to be a point within the episode, which I do like, and we'll get into later on. But was there another point within the episode that you did like? I would say concentrate more on the people, Dimitri, because I think that's where the show was going. This episode was more geared more towards the characters, where they're at, who they are, and we had some really key scenes within this episode. So do you have anything?
I definitely Kate dealing with some of the guilt she's feeling about pressing the button, which it is, after walking out of it, is a natural feeling to have. And I think that, as well as other things, really solidifies her as like a sort of a well-rolled person.
Yeah. Her talk with her father, Hiroshi, and dealing with that situation, how he just walked away. They had this like specific scene where she goes, "Why?" and they just go on and on. And we had this conversation about this last episode for the first episode, and her and May actually have a conversation that keys into this, which makes sense. May goes, "Did you contact your mother before we lost contact when they got back on the ship?" And she goes, "No." And it's like, wait, you found your dad. Your half brother is there with you. You have your friends. May, who has isolated herself from everybody she's loved, contacted her own family saying, "I'm fine, I'm good, I'm blah, blah, blah." Kate's like, no, she's more geared almost like Lee Shaw himself. Like the same mentality, same attitude. And it's kind of weird how they connect. And I think that's a connection right there. We also do get really cool things between Keiko and Hiroshi. And I do like that because we get moments with them. Now, mind you, listeners, we're coming backwards and forwards. You've already seen this. This is a spoiler-full podcast. Basically, what I'm referencing is Keiko and Hiroshi. Hiroshi says and mentions, "Hey, we could use sonar." Lee and Keiko kind of realize it because they recognize the creature. They've seen it before. Tim was like, "I don't know." And he's not in charge really in any way. We'll get into that later. But Hiroshi says that he could actually adjust and fix the instruments of what they needed to track Titan X. And even Keiko goes, "You could do that?" And it's one of those, it's like, oh, I don't even know my son anymore. And they come together and they're at that point where they're both working on something. And there's that whole human aspect within the scene itself, where Hiroshi is an older man. He probably is older than Keiko at this time from when she left. So now he's older than her physically and somewhat mentally than Keiko is, but she's still his mother. So it's like a person out of time, but is still his mother. And there's that little key scene where she goes, "Stop biting your nails." And I thought that was really key to it. And her, her head pressing against his. And they talk a little bit about Billy Randa. And Billy was kind of missing in this episode to some degree.
Yeah.
And I still miss Billy Randa. I really want John Goodman back. I really would love. I do not think that John Goodman's character of Billy Randa is dead. I have a funny feeling he's alive out there somewhere. I really want him back.
Yeah, he's only just slightly burned from the explosion that killed the skull crawler that ate him. Just slightly.
Well,
singed.
maybe he got onto a raft, and I don't remember exactly. I did not go back and watch it, but there's always way. Suspend your disbelief. There's got to be some way that man is alive somewhere and comes back, and he sees, and you get John Goodman, and you'll have Kurt Russell in the same scene, and he'll be like, well, what'd you do?
Yeah,
It's like,
he pulled a Hannibal Chow.
Yeah, Hannibal
Pacific
Chow.
Rim.
Yeah, exactly.
After credits, just cuts it open with a broken piece of his camera.
Yeah, exactly, right? I would love to see that. If they bring him back, that'll be amazing. That would be so, chef's kiss to that one.
I would be fine if they brought him back, like Hiroshi's like having like a dream or whatnot, and it's about seeing Bill for the last time. Because I like to think that Bill did come to visit, be very awkward to visit, but visit nonetheless.
Yeah,
like a few months or even a year prior to
going to Skull Island, the the movie Everybody Skull Island, but that was in the 70s.
Yes,
so we'd have to see a de-aged Kurt Russell at that point too. By the way,
I mean, no, Kurt Russell went in. Well, Lee went into the portal in 61. He came back in the 80s.
Correct, but when did he get killed on Skull Island?
70s.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
yeah, like 76. I want to say it was at the end of the Vietnam War.
Exactly. So we'd have to get that at that point. It'd be great. I just, like I said, I want me some John Goodman. I want Billy Randa back in mostly. I love the actor that comes out that we have playing Billy Randa. I really think the actor is amazing and what he does. And a lot of people are just like, oh, we don't like that character. I'm like, why? Because he's just there. And that's Anders Holm. And I think Anders gives a good feel to the character.
Yeah.
And the conversation about Billy with Keiko and Hiroshi about who Billy was, she goes, oh, Billy would have loved this. And a lot of Billy comes out in conversations. Even Tim, like with Tim saying their motto of Monarch, she goes, that was Billy's motto.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you got Keiko talking to Hiroshi about him being a father. And he goes, he felt more at home while working than he was, meaning that while she was gone, he had to live with Billy at that point, and he felt like a child who was just dismissed. And she doesn't know this Billy at this point. And we got to get some sort of resolution of her talking to Billy about Billy, or getting that out of Lee if Lee talked to Billy later on in, let's say, the late 60s into the 70s after she disappeared.
Yeah.
And then we have to get that information, you know?
I will say, like, with the actors, season 1, we see who Billy was, and then after Keiko dies, air quotations marks, because that's what he believed, I think in 50 something. I know it's like 58 or something like that.
58, she disappeared. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So, and then when we went to the flashback in season 1, between, like, right before Lee went in into the portal and disappeared, we kind of see that change in Billy, and then once Lee disappeared, then we have the transformation of John Goodman's Billy.
Yeah, which is a more grizzled and determined and using whatever he needs that we saw in Kong Skull Island.
Yeah, and I really like how they are able to like contrast the two Billies.
Yes, it's a good way because they're two different people. If you think about it,
Yeah,
Billy
it really
was hopeful and very searching and wanting Monarch to be doing good, whereas in the end he was trying to push but go against the grain of Monarch towards the end before he disappeared. I'm going to say disappeared every week.
Yeah.
Not, end of life.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really shows what loss can do to a person because obviously lost his wife and then lost his best friend. So it really shows just the mental, especially mental health side of things when losing two people you really love and care about.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't really get that with these types of properties, aka kaiju properties.
No. Every once in a while we do get them.
Yeah.
They had that in the original Toho series, if you remember.
Yep.
84 resonated into the 90s where you had the one guy and he showed up in Space Godzilla and Yuki. There you go.
And his best friend died by the hands of Godzilla, and I believe that was Goro was his name.
Yes, I think you're correct. And the you see that resonate within the original Godzilla series. That's why it's all intertwined. Even with the original Godzilla versus Kong, there was like a story within the characters in that movie. There's like an extended movie within it too, everybody. It's like if you're down to watch a lot of subtitles and a lot of text and read into plot based upon humans, and it was like, all I want to do is watch the guys in the rubber suits, man. But we all want that. But the thing is the idea is there has to be some sort of context to the story of how they all come together to resolve said situation with these big kaiju. And that's why. And everybody is involved in a certain way. And the idea of these movies is literally to show the human interaction within it. And that's what gets us involved in these films. That is what we're talking about, everybody. I'm sorry, we could go into, and I love all the, I just changed my Facebook page picture to when I met Kenpachiro Setsuma like 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. And I got to meet all three kaiju, actors who played Godzilla and one shot, thankfully, before Hiro Nakajima passed away. Same thing with Kenpachiro Satsuma. And I forget the last guy, and I'm really sad that I'm sure every kaiju fan out there is yelling at me right now, but I got him. I got pictures with all of them, and they remembered me from when I saw them back in 1996, which is so funny. And Satsuma and Hiro Nakajima, and I have like a picture of them with me and them then, and then me of them like probably about 12 years ago. And but it's all about those characters that we do, and that's why we love these shows. We love the monsters, obviously. We gotta love the monsters.
Yeah.
So, and I love the actors that did portray them. Now everything is CG. We do get a few on occasion suit actors. Everybody, trust me. There is proper CG, and there's model making that's coming back. But a lot of it is centered around these people, and you got to remember that that's how these movies are centered, and shows are centered around. It's the people, the encounters, the situation, everything's based upon it. They mentioned it a couple of times within this episode about G-Day. Even Lee had mentioned it. He goes, "We don't want another G-Day." And then Keiko looks at him going, "What's a G-Day?" And then she goes, she's been so far removed from 1958 till now that she didn't even know. It's like, oh, there was an attack on the world. And then she's going to have to learn these things little by little. She's only brought in just recently and is learning. And then learning that she made an impact on Monarch of all things. So I really do enjoy that aspect that it's like she's a woman out of time. She's being respected as a doctor for somebody who actually helped create Monarch. And on top of that, she's respected as a woman of science on top of that. And she's like, things have changed. And she's going to have to grasp that at a certain point. And then on top of that, she's going to have to grasp that, hey, my son has 2 wives and 2 kids. And
I hope that there's a scene where she finds out about him doing that, and she just looks at him like, I'm not mad. I'm just very disappointed in you. Because we all know when moms say that is set up, I am so mad at you. You know, you did something very wrong.
Well, the cool thing about that and this whole thing, even from last season up until now, Kentaro and Kate have come together and they are brother and sister. They treat each other like brother and sister. They do truly care for each other, which is great. And they were both on that impact of finding their father, which they have found now. And they found him at the very end of, the last season. And then they found their grandmother. And so it's like, holy crap. It's like everybody's coming together. It's a family freaking reunion, everybody, even on a Monarch ship. And they're all working together. You got Uncle Lee, who is like, hey, Tim, you don't know what the hell you're doing? You need to go follow that Titan. And apparently that is what the last orders he was given that he didn't get until later on. And then his orders were to like literally secure and detain Lee Shaw and take him back and then sequester him and then just follow the Titan. Well, they are following the Titan based upon what Lee said. So you get that one moment in the episode, which is perfect because you get Lee and Tim talking and he goes, I don't know, that got garbled, and he crumples it off and throws it away. And he's literally saying, it's like, he even said it. He goes, I was the guy in the back of the filing room that did nothing, that followed all this. What was it, Verdugo? That had, we lost her on the island. Is she truly lost? Is she truly dead? Did we really see that? Who knows? It's kind of the whole Billy Randa situation. Can they come back?
Yeah, imagine if she was just flung into the portal and she just wakes up like, where the fuck?
Where am I, man? It's like, oh, or what was it in Kong Skull Island? What was it? William Riley was his
oh yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. You talk about.
I call them skull crawlers, and that guy.
Marlowe. That's his name.
There we go. And he lived on that island forever, but you thought he was dead. His friend, who was a
Gunpei.
Yes, yeah, he was like his opponent from Japan, and they got trapped on that island. They were gonna die together, and they lived together, and they wound up becoming friends, even though they were mortal enemies in the friggin' war. I would not be surprised. It's like, it'd be funny to be like, oh, Furuta and Randa find each other and they survive somehow. There's so many things that could happen that writers could throw in there and be like, oh yeah, that could happen. Billy got sucked down into the hollow earth somehow. The thing was ready to bite him. He fell through. Same thing with Furuta. Oh my god. Oh, she's down there. And they survive. And then they get them out.
After you get it free from the skull across stomach.
Yeah,
Runner is
exactly.
just walking up. Oh, there he goes. And then
He pops out of Skullcrawler's stomach somehow. Who knows?
it's like, oh, there he goes. He's falling off the cliff. Then it's like,
Well, all we saw him was go off the cliff. We didn't really see the bite onto him to die. As I recall.
Well, I think the skull crawler. It's been a long time since I've seen Kong Skull Island, but I distinctly remember that the skull crawler did nab him with his tongue and then just swallow him whole.
He swallowed him whole, probably puked him up. Who knows? Yeah, they did that in the Land of the Lost movie with Will Ferrell. Who knows?
Yeah.
He pooped you out? Yeah, he pooped me out. We don't talk about that.
No, but yeah, he's just walking. La da da da. I am alive. Trips off a cliff. Appears in the X's Monday. Looks around. Wait a minute. I was right. Wait, I was right.
Yeah, and then he'll have to be like, I have to take a shower or a bath right now because I smell of all this crap on me from that damn skull crawler and everything else. Yeah. We could hope and dream, everybody. That's our thoughts. I really would, like I said, would like to see that
and when
happen.
all else fails, write it yourself, everybody.
Yeah, this called fan fiction.
Yeah.
But regardless, we're gonna move on. Keep moving forward, as we always say. And then we get a lot of flashbacks within this episode with Lee, Keiko, and Billy. Billy winds up going off on this excursion, even though they have this conversation between Keiko, Lee, and Billy. And Billy's like just determined to leave to follow more of his dream of finding these serpents and everything else. And Lee is like, no, we should all stick together. And Keiko winds up saying, no, we should stay here to find out the truth. And it kind of erupts into somewhat of an argument between Billy and Keiko at a certain point, but he winds up going, and there's still love there between them, and you know that because that's where they're at in their relationship. And Lee and Keiko are stuck on the island with these natives that are there that have this love and affection for this god.
Yeah, and I like the fact that both of their plans make sense. Staying there to figure out stuff is a good thing to do, but also being proactive and figure out the migration patterns of Titan X to try and predict where she'll be at any given point is also important.
Yes.
So I can see both. So it's really hard to like choose which one I would personally be going with.
Yeah. It's like the story doesn't follow Billy, if you noticed. It's always going with Keiko and Lee at certain points. They're trying to put that focal point because we do get those little glares every once in a while in current day, or in 2017, I should say, not current day.
Yeah.
And then we got glares and conversations between Keiko and Lee in 1957. So I was like, okay, they're pushing this more and more and more, this romantic episode that we all think and feel. We do get the truth behind about Hiroshi and who his father is. She was in an arranged marriage. His father died of cancer at a certain point, I believe, from within, what she says in the episode.
He was a medic during and after the war. He died of cancer. I'm not sure where she said he was stationed at, because for all we know, this is just speculation. Because I don't remember exactly where she said she was stationed at, and since she put sort of an emphasis of him dying of cancer, I'm thinking he might have been at Hiroshima.
I felt the same way too. Yeah.
It's probably just me mishearing, but
yeah. And then Billy became the foster or new stepfather at that point to Hiroshi, and he was trying to be a good dad to him. But think about it. Both parents were constantly away from their kid during that time in the 50s. And later on, she disappears, and then he had to take over, and he was probably hardly ever there. Hence the conversation of him in 2017 with his mother and her being younger than him in 2017, saying, it's like he was more at home with his work than he was at home.
I can see the reason for that being like he felt closer to Lee and Keiko because it was their baby. It was their brainchild.
He was more in love with his work than anything because it was a devotion based upon his situation where he was on a ship and I would love to see a flashback to that. There could always be a side episode where they could show us that moment of what he had seen. And it could be a completely different, it could be Reptilicus in the water. And something like, they could expose a new Titan that we never got within Monarch itself. They could pull from the Toho library and put it in Legendary and just pull it there. They keep coming up with some interesting stuff, like with Titan X. That's an original kind of Titan. These are new Titans. These are not like old Toho reissued. Here we are, and we're gonna bring Baragon. We're gonna bring Varan. We're gonna bring Reptilicus. They already brought Ghidorah. We got Rodan. Rodan had already came out at this point, but later on within the series, we Angeles. We got Anguillus, whatever you want to call him. We got Titanosaurus. You got King Caesar. You got a whole bunch of different slew of monsters they could pull from that are reminiscent, but Legendary is trying to be a little bit more creative. And we've seen that with some of the monsters that we got, even in the first episode, with the one with the horns all over the place. It looked like a pig. Yeah. Oh my God. And then one that looked like a jaguar, but it was kind of reptilian and stuff like that. Had a big snout. We had the big creatures that were pteranodons from the last episode. They could pull so much more out for these characters and these monsters. They were getting low, small tiered monsters. The bigger monsters are bigger for, guess what, everybody? The bigger scenes in the show and then the movies itself. We're going to get the bigger, larger monsters for the movies, most of all. And, with the last one that we got with Kong, Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we he had his booster
beast glove.
Yeah, his beast glove there, Kong, and then on top of that you had these orangutans or these like big apes that were part of a collective bound in Hollow Earth. Something that I was just like, it took me out of it for that movie, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of understand that. Mostly because giant apes.
Yeah, exactly.
And
could be attributed to Yetis or Sasquatch at that point, but they don't have to be that big.
Bigfoot. I mean, if you remember with season 1, Bigfoot. It is a part of the monster. But
so is the Loch Ness monster too. Dimitri.
I get what you're saying, and we're so used to like Kong being the only one of the species, seeing like essentially a troop of 100 of them just randomly popping up with no hints to it in previous films is jarring.
It is jarring in a sense that it's like it kind of gives you that Planet of the Apes feel. It's like Kong is more of a gorilla, whereas they are chimpanzees, and there's more a bunch of chimpanzees style, that are large at this point. So it's like, technically Kong is because he looks a lot different from them, but they look more chimpanzee based.
Yeah,
But
I like to think that's uh it's like how I view well, like the Godzilla species, how there are possibly subspecies. I think
yes,
with the Kong species, collectively they're all Kongs, but there's little different subspecies.
variations.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think for me, anyways, I think it would have been better if it was only Suko and
Mm.
uh and Scar King that he finds.
Yeah, yeah. It would have been like great if it was only a few of them, but
Yes.
not a whole army of them. I know that
Yeah.
feeling. All right. Not to digress, which we do tend to do here, everybody. We kind of got into the whole idea of like what happened in Godzilla X Kong, the Hollow Earth, everything that kind of formulates around Monarch and everything that's going on. Um I would say yeah, I've gone through a lot of my notes already, which is so funny.
I have another one.
Go ahead, go.
The entire scene of the scarab on the ship.
Oh, Kate's little alien encounter. I like to
Yes.
reference that as an alien like H.R. Geiger's or H.R.
Yeah.
Geiger's or
Yeah.
Giger's work, and it's kind of got that alien feel. It takes down one of the scientists, and then next thing you know, she's being trapped and followed, and the thing's on. It's like dancing on the ceiling like Lionel Richie, and then going after her and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I got that brings me back to 1984 with the sea louse so much.
Well, in the very beginning, where you see the like creatures that were on the ship in
Yeah.
1984, yeah, I get that. I get that feeling too. There's always a lot of references to Toho, productions, or
Yeah.
at certain points in here. There's always a reference to previous Toho productions and monster films as that. The suspense, and then but the funny thing is that we have this whole sequence of like alien Kate walking around like Ripley trying to figure out how to get away from this thing, and then Kentaro and May show up, and they use a fire extinguisher and then a flare to take it down, and then they wind up eventually getting to the front of the deck telling them, hey, we found this thing and blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, and then you realize it's a part of Titan X. It's a part of, like I said it before, it's like the Borg. It feels itself. It resonated something sonically so that the Titan X, like the main Titan, realizes, oh, I'm in danger. Here, come get me. And then Lee just goes, hold on, we need to. And they take this thing, they wrap it in a blanket, they throw it in the friggin' boat, and Lee just takes off at this point, and then takes off to divert the location. And then Titan X does a reverse and turns around. Within that time, though, we get a flashback to 1957, and it's Keiko and Lee at the village, and they're doing this whole song and dance and parade. Now, mind you, it reminds me something out of Godzilla versus Kong with the, if you remember the songs, da, 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 and they yep, he knows the songs, everybody, just like I do.
That has got to be my favorite rendition of the main thing of Godzilla.
Yeah.
Especially with the chanting.
Yeah, exactly, right? But they had makeup on, and they had this whole ritual, and they cut the fish down the center. They wind up literally, roofing Keiko and Lee at a certain point. and they wind up like, oh, we're closing village, and they all lock themselves up, and guess what? They're bait for the scarabs. But it wasn't the scarabs that wanted them. The scarabs actually ran past them. And this is what we find out, is that the scarabs are part of Titan X. It's part of a community of them. That is why they're in that hive. That's what we saw in Hollow Earth, when we first saw Titan X exposed during that explosion when they were trying to get Hiroshi back and Lee back at that point, and it crumbles and it comes down and you see all the scarabs come down.
Yeah, I will.
Part of the same living being, and it's a communal thing.
Yeah, I like how it's like a symbiosis things sort of. And the fact that Titan X will make a U-turn just for one little individual.
Yeah, one little individual scarab, right? It's almost like with like Cloverfield with its little things that drop down. If
Parasites.
You remember that move. Yeah, the parasites that they had that, little made people explode, like Lizzie Kaplan at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like so upset because I love Lizzie Kaplan. Yeah. Anyhow, and then you get all these experiences with this. There's a lot of pull from other films, but there's a reasoning behind this. So it's trying to make it a pure entity that lives off of this. Very much almost like how whales have little fishes around them that follow them, and it's part of who they are in their construct.
And sharks.
What? And sharks too?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably be the most better comparisons because as a docile monster, wow. Final words reference without realizing it. Titan X. There we go. Oh, some Monster X. I see no humanizer there, but no.
It'd be funny to see that again.
Oh God! I mean, I honestly believe that that Legendary would pull a better Kaiju Ghidorah, but that's a topic for another time. Anyways,
yes, it is.
Yeah, Titan X. Because we don't know if she's like docile half the time or just swim around just looking for something to fight. We don't know.
We don't know exactly what is its nature. What is it looking to do? What is it looking for? I think that's where our story lies within this season. Because if we're going to follow this large monster, where are we following it to? Who's going to wind up battling it? And what are human counterparts are going to have to deal with, like observing this, because literally that's what Keiko states throughout the whole episode, and even the latter part of last episode is that they follow and observe and just to work with it so they can live with it, and that's what it is. A lot of what Monarch originally was is so that they can learn to adapt and live with these creatures rather than trying to destroy them. And trying to destroy them will cause, guess what, everybody? World War. All the big wars. You're going to have the big atom bomb, and then guess who they annihilate? Themselves. People will annihilate themselves, try to get rid of the big bad in their minds of what it was is the monster. And in a sense, they'll be killing themselves. So,
and along the line of not knowing anything about it, the show makes you feel like you're one of the Monarch hands.
Yeah, you're watching it in their perspective, right?
Yeah, and you are figuring all these out yourself. Be it because it's showing you, not telling you. With few exceptions, or like the whole sonic below human hearing addition, but mostly we're seeing it for ourselves and coming to the conclusion for ourselves, and then the science, then the other characters confirming our own theories.
Kind of like the theory of, and we kind of topped off on this now that we've gone all way from the beginning of the episode to the end and in between a little bit already. We've already mentioned something that we liked that we got from a Godzilla film. So I'm going to talk about this and you could jump in at any given time. 1994 Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. We had Miki Sagusa. And how does Kate feel within this episode when she feels the vibration as Lee is going out there? She's got that chill and feeling. Very much
Yeah.
almost like Mickey Sagusa. So, if for you people who have not followed Toho, Mickey Sagusa in Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, it's a little spoilery. If you don't want to listen to it, just shut us off right now. 3, 2, 1. Mickey Sagusa literally is like an empath, or she has psionic powers. She's able to understand kaiju, feel them and sense them and know where they are, feel what they can do. And it's how I felt about Kate when she felt it, and where everybody else didn't feel that. Even I think Keiko felt it just the same. So it's resonant in their family and females. So I was like, oh, okay, all right, we got something out of Toho that's coming into this. This is cool.
Yeah, I'd be fine if that's what they're going for with the ground line with the woman. If not, I'm going to grab that idea and write it myself.
Do a lot of your own fan fiction right there. I'm gonna make my own.
Yeah, because there's so many ideas that it feels like they're setting up, but for some reason they don't
execute it as fast, right? Yeah, I know.
Or they don't execute it at all. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna do it myself, and I already have some stuff like planned out for my Monsterverse rewrite. No, this isn't me like, oh, I could do it better. No, this is just me writing how I would have wanted it to be. I still love the movies and the shows.
Yeah, same here.
I'm just that kind of creative
you let
person.
Your imagination go along with you, and then you have your own world that you can live in. It sucks that nobody else is involved and able to watch it all the time, unless you create your own fan fiction. And trust me, everybody, where you have like so many different IPs out there. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you got Dracula, you have like Interview with the Vampire and everything else that happened. They've done we try to do this on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. We're trying to get the Telemasca review out there, but they even expanded upon that on something small that Anne Rice had done with that IP. And it's not even fan fiction, that's even factual. But other people have written other things, which is amazing. Even with Star Trek out there too. It's
right. Even from the 60s, which is surprising.
It's surprising out there. Everybody has their own thing, which is pretty cool. And it makes everybody original, makes them creative, and makes them, involved in the fan fiction and just being typical fanatics that we are of the genres that we like. Anyhow, let's move on. I think we covered a lot of this already. We do end on the keynote of Lee coming back to the ship, and he survives, everybody. Yeah! And is still following Titan X at this point. And that's where they leave us off.
Yes.
And and then we get the whole thing to ponder too of what they saw Lee and Keiko in Chile when Titan X shows up and all the scarabs go and pass them, as everybody locked them out thinking, oh, they're gonna be a donation to Titan X, they're our sacrifice, here you go. And then let's see,
put a neon sign above them.
Exactly.
Hey, sacrifice, arrow pointed to them.
And then they're going to wake up the next day going, what are you guys still doing here? We got to get rid of you. We got to get away. Alive? And then Billy shows up with the boat. Get the frick on. Who the hell? What's going on here? So we're going to get a lot of that probably come the next episode. So episode 3, we'll probably get a little bit of resolution regarding that, and I'm looking forward to that. Within this particular episode, we didn't get any new monsters. We got the Scarab. That's all we got.
We just got a closer look at the Scarab. That's about it.
Literally, yeah. It looked like a hermit crab on acid and it's crawling around with tentacles and blah 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 blah, and it's hard to kill, and that's about it. So, with that, we move into quotes. Do you have any quotes, Dimitri?
The Keiko's entire speech about Monarch after Tim said about the motto.
Yes.
And it shows just how far Monarch has gotten from the original mission
where
statement.
it started, and then where it is now. And she even mentions it's like that's what Billy, stated. That's what our original mission statement was.
Because they understood that they can't really kill off, especially the big species of Titans like Kong, Godzilla, Behemoth, so on and so forth. So we have to be like how we were thousands of years ago and coexist with them. Monarch, just as we saw in Try 14, kill them all. You can't kill them all. Even pretty much probably after King of Monsters, when a little space dragon can just come to Earth like billions of years ago. Oh yes, let us kill off Godzilla, because there's possibly no way other space creatures like Ghidorah can come here.
Yeah.
He was one in a million.
No, we got more coming, everybody.
Yeah.
There's a lot more in the back pocket that Legendary has. A lot of toys. Anyhow, I have one, and it's from Keiko and Lee's conversation about how he feels after they get him back, and they're on a helicopter, and Keiko asking him, Lee, how he feels, and he goes, "How do you feel? Are you okay?" And he goes, "About the same as coming back from a 3-day pass in Manila." I thought that was a really good quote. I only have one more, and that's from Keiko herself. When Lee describes government and Monarch nowadays, and Keiko saying they go through. Lee goes, they go through your luggage at the airport because they were going to go through all that crap.
Yeah,
Lee, Keiko, they go through our luggage like at the airport.
I love little scenes like that because it really shows just how far back Keiko is from.
At a time, because back then you could smoke on an airplane. What? You can't smoke? No. It's like, put that out. What's wrong with you? It's like, why do they have no smoking signs now when it comes on? It makes no sense. I still think that to this day. I'm like, all right, it's already implied there is no smoking. What the no smoking sign has put on? I was like, why even put it there? You can't smoke anyway. Is it for the people from the past that show up in the present now? Are we
imagine?
Are we like, hold on, we are unfreezing all those people frozen from the 50s till now, and they're gonna realize, oh crap, I can't smoke on a plane. Oh, I was able to smoke, but I couldn't smoke, but I was still not able to smoke even in the airport. What the hell is this? So anyhow, that's my little joke. All right. I think we covered this particular episode as much as we can. Had a lot of fun talking about it too. Referencing a lot of Toho callbacks as well as what we're thinking. I think, honestly, going forward with the episode, I think next episode's probably going to carry off like this one. It starts off where we left off. They're going to continue their trek of following Titan X of wherever it goes. I think something's going to come out of the blue. I'm hoping it's a big G, and he's in the waters somewhere, and it's going to piss off Kong at the end of the episode. But those are my predictions.
Yeah, my prediction is just Godzilla senses Titanax. Huh, you're not supposed to be up here. Swims to her, gets into skirmish, and then chase her back to Skull Island, where she then fights Kong.
That'd be interesting. We'll see. We'll find out. All right. So with that, we'll move on within the podcast and go right into podcast recommendations. Do you have any, Dimitri?
I can only recommend my own, which is the Toku Relics podcast, where I go over lost, unmade, banned, and found tokusatsu films.
Okay.
Like the unmade Godzilla scripts that led up to
like Godzilla. What was it? Frankenstein versus.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Frankenstein. King Kong versus Frankenstein, which we could do a whole episode about that, because that came from the mind from the one and only Willis O'Brien.
Yes, exactly. There was also one too of Godzilla versus the Yeti or something like that at one point. There was a whole bunch of others that came that were in fruition. We'll get into that at a later point, but go listen to Mr. Godzilla Karu, and when you can, on his YouTube. All right. As far as other recommendations, go to Podcastica.com. Check out all the other podcasts that are on there. There's a whole bunch of there. Wilhelm podcast. Check that out. Ben Beck's been doing. You could check out all the older episodes we did for Monarch Season 1. Ben and myself and my friend Rob Moda from Fantasy Picks Movie Edition, currently working with us here on Pirate Core Entertainment, where we actually do other stuff. We did a 25th anniversary review. I've yet to put that out, everybody. It's probably going to be another week and a half or week and a half that you'll get it. I finally started editing, just a matter of getting everything right down. So you could check out Wilhelm Podcast. Go to wilhelmpodcast.com and then check that out, and then just check out the podcast that Ben has been doing. He's been doing a lot of cool interviews. So with that, for this particular podcast here, where can listener hear us? So Dimitri, just plug away where they could find you.
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Godzilla Kaiju. I put out sort of videos like the Kaiju vlogs and Kaiju movie reviews. I'm currently working on the movie review of Mothra 61. I also have a live show, which is now 4 episodes in, I believe. And it's just me rambling about kaijus. Has the name Kaiju Rambles. Anyone that I know, that all my friends and acquaintances can come up on stream with me and just ramble on and on about our favorite kaijus and all that, and anniversaries of said kaijus.
Oh yeah.
And just fun. I mean, last night, that episode was about the 70th anniversary of Rodan and the 10th anniversary of Shin Godzilla.
Ooh, and I love Shin.
and it went on about 6 hours.
Of course, usually that's how long it goes. That's why you have to actually do it live so that people can watch it live, because people, if they watch it back, they're like, holy crap, this is like 6 hours? And it's on YouTube, and you're like, it's like,
yeah. And this and then the next episode, which will be on the 21st, because it's usually on the first and last Saturday, but the last weekend of this month, I'm heading over by train to visit my best friend for the weekend. So you probably won't see me then, but I love you all. well, the episode for that week. Anyways, uh, yeah, yeah. The next episode of Kaiju Rambles. Focus.
It's
Um,
okay.
it's going to be on the 65th anniversary of Gorgo.
Ooh, Gorgo. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's going to be fun, mostly because it's not really all that of a popular kaiju film, because there's only one movie, plus some comics, plus a prequel comic called Gorgo Legacy. But yeah, that's all about my YouTube.
Awesome. Cool. So with me, well, I can be heard here as always on Kaiju Cast. You can hear me on Panels to Pixels podcast, Sandman Cast. Sandman Cast might come back for the fact that May 13th, 2026. Guess what? Prime Video is going to be putting out Good Omens Season 3.
Ooh.
So we'll be covering that. I'm going to try to get a slew of friends, come together, talk about Good Omens. Obviously, with Panels to Pixels podcast, we wrapped up our coverage of Wonder Man Season 1, which was a spotlight series. Everybody, we're probably not going to see another Wonder Man show or anything. We'll probably see him in the movies, just like with She-Hulk was more of a spotlight. Same thing with Man Thing and Werewolf by Night. All those were spotlight based. So we're going to come back. We're going to come back at the end of the month for, guess what? Daredevil Born Again and Season 2. So we're going to get more John Bernthal as Punisher. We're going to get, Cox back as Daredevil. We're going to, Steve Brown and myself are going to be covering that. It's coming out March 24th from my understanding, so we'll probably be a few days away after that. Obviously keep up when you can. We'll give you teasers and and also on top of that, we're gonna get more stuff like Spider-Man Noir is coming out on Prime Video as well.
Oh yeah,
Nicolas Cage as Nick Cage as the black suited Spider-Man from like the 60s or 30s. That's what it was. And it's going to be a black and white or color streamed, everybody. So, and then on top of that, guess what? April, The Boys. So we're going to be a little bit behind everybody with panels. So with Panels to Pixels, we're going to have a lot. We might double up and do two shows in one podcast. We don't know yet. We will let you know, but we're going to start off at the end of the month when we get Daredevil Born Again. And then we're going to start from there, go over, see what Steve and I can do. If other people want to jump in and come in and have fun, more than welcome. So that's what's going on with Panels to Pixels podcast, Sandman Cast, Adrenaline Cinema podcast. As always, I told you the 25th year-end review. We're going to do that year 2025 year-end review is going to come out. After that, Jerry Gomez and myself will be doing another movie. We're going to do the newer version of the Ape series. So we're going to jump into that. So we covered all of the 60s, 70s movies of the Ape series, Planet of the Apes. So we're going to move on and then probably do something else. If my friend Frank Gonzalez once comes out, he could come in. Frank Rodriguez. It was like confuse him between Adam. Anyhow, we're probably going to do something else, more of B movie based that we always love. So I'm going to give Frank a little leeway with that. And then obviously the Pyrocore Music Podcast, I'm going to come back. We're going to bring that back eventually. And I got my hands so filled with so much stuff, and I'm a regular working Joe, everybody. Anyhow, I don't want to sound like Dan Monroe and Music Monsters and everything else on YouTube, which I do promote, everybody. I do love Dan Monroe. Check him out if you can. Cheap plug. Anyhow, with that, for Podcastica, you could send a voice message at talkpodcastica.com. If you head to podcastica.com, there's a handy voice message link there. So if you want to send us any feedback, please do so. Do it there. Check us out on social media there for Podcastica at facebook.com/Podcastica. Twitter, you could find at Podcastica. And on Instagram, it's at House Podcastica. And while you're there, if you haven't already checked out the other podcasts on Podcastica Network, like Run for Your Lives, House Podcastica, Yellow Jackets, WTF, and everything else that's going on, because Jason's got his hands in everything. So for Kaiju Podcast, we can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast player of choice. Obviously, this is a dual production between Podcastica and Pyrocore Entertainment. Kaiju Cast is part of the Pyrocore Entertainment Network. So keep that in mind. So follow us directly on for Kaiju Cast Podcast. Found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or like I said, whatever podcast player of choice. Check out the networks on our website, pyrocoreentertainment.com. And you could submit your theories and feedback and go to our Facebook group and just go to facebook.com, Kaiju Cast Podcast. It could be about this or what we're going to, you can send us ideas of what you want us to do later on after Monarch Season 2. And then we could go from there. Same thing if you wanted to email us, which is kaijukastpodcast@gmail.com. Kaiju Cast Podcast, all one word. That's KIJU Cast Podcast @gmail.com. Just to give you an idea of how to spell it out. A lot of people have a hard time. We can be found on Instagram at Kaiju Cast _podcast. Kaiju Cast, KIJU Cast the underscore, you have to do the under thing, and podcast. YouTube, we could be found on YouTube. All you have to do is search for Kaiju Cast Podcast. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and please ring that bell, because whatever's on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, it will be on YouTube as well, and as also a visual in the event that we actually do an interview or even do a video, so that way you could see, well, my ugly mug and Dimitri's happy face. So next week we will be covering Monarch Season 2, Episode 3, entitled Secrets. And the synopsis for that one, Dimitri.
It is Shaw, Keiko, Hiroshi, and Kataru go rogue in an attempt to find Titan X. Kate struggles with feelings of guilt. A buried secret is exposed.
Interesting. So, with that, I just want to thank everyone for listening. I'm Mark.
And I'm Dimitri.
Don't get stopped on. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.